Hello, friends. How many of you have told your doctor that your current treatment, levothyroxine, Synthroid, is just not working? You still feel terrible. Or that you ask them to test more things because you suspect that TSH or the one thing is just not enough. And they say, no, your labs are normal, you're fine, it must be in your head, you're just eating too much, it's something else. Well, my friends, a new book just came out a couple of months ago by a wonderful researcher, MD, PhD, former head of the American Thyroid Association, former program director for the Endocrine Society, that says we may be on the right track and your physician is wrong. So I'm a member of the Endocrine Society, which is an international organization of endocrine researchers, endocrinologists, and so on. This is the latest issue, January of 2023. And in it, there is an interview with Anthony Bianco, MD, PhD, The Hypothyroidism Puzzle. Anthony Bianco, MD, PhD, tells us why hypothyroidism is often a solution followed by a mystery. What he means by that is that we get diagnosis and it really doesn't help, right? We just okay, I have a diagnosis, now what do I do? And the doctor's like, oh, here's a pill, you're fine. Yeah, no, that's not true. So there's a new book called Rethinking Hypothyroidism. It came out a few months ago. I have not read it yet. I am super excited, of course, ordered it the second I read about it. Why treatment must change and what patients can do. It's geared at really physicians and patients. I don't yet know the level of how technical it is. I will let you know when I get it. So like I said, guy's got credentials. And he talks about, his book goes to exhaustive lengths to help readers understand why some recommendations in the clinical guidelines are flawed. It details the history of the clinical characterization and treatment of hypothyroidism, starting with Napoleon Bonaparte, who knew he had hypothyroidism, and leading all the way up to the present, and provides scientific evidence supporting the claims and complaints of millions of patients over the past 50 years. So this guy's done some of the most important research on the enzymes that convert the storage form of the hormone T4 into T3, called deiodinases. So he really knows what he's talking about. He's talking about how deiodinases act at the cellular level inside tissues, so measuring thyroid hormone in the bloodstream maybe not be sufficient to know what's really going on, and measuring TSH certainly is not sufficient. So he says, hypothyroidism is a disease that affects about 20 million people living in the US, so it's a big deal. The book starts by describing the crisis we have today, that between 10 and 20%, I'd say more, of patients remain symptomatic despite being treated adequately. As prescribed, physicians have been slow in recognizing these symptoms. Patients feel dismissed, many are angry. In the book, I explain how this came about and how doctors were influenced by the pharmaceutical companies into believing treatment with T4 is flawless, superior to other forms of treatment, which created a dogma and lack of curiosity or effort in investigating these symptoms. So, saying that the pharmaceutical companies influence these doctors and the doctors stop listening to us. I'm super excited about this book. I will let you know what I learned from it, including he goes into alternative forms of treatment and how the treatment guidelines have to change.